we're facing the darkness whether we like it or not. So we might as well just open our eyes and face it. So vivisection is like dissection, except it's on living bodies. It's also known as animal experimentation or animal testing, but that doesn't give the full evilness of the situation. It doesn't paint the picture really of what it is. Anyways, so yesterday in this facility of over 2,000 force bred beagle puppies, a team of, I think, about 24 activists went in. Big shout out to Direct Action Everywhere, an incredible campaign about liberating animals. And they went in as a team and they liberated about 22 beagles. Some of the already rescued ones were subsequently taken by police. The police was hindering the efforts rather of people who were rescuing the beagles, these innocent little literal puppies, and the police was pulled, taking beagles, pulling them out of the cages and putting them into their cars to bring them back to these evil psychopaths who are chopping up and doing horrific things to innocent baby animals without any anesthesia. It goes on and on, like what happens. We're in this great awakening, you guys, and we don't like it because it's not fun. It's uncomfortable. The things we have to face, things we have to think about, the things we have to discuss, and even just the things that happen in our own lives are uncomfortable as fuck. Pretty much one of the worst topics that exists. It's in the top 5, I'm sure, probably the top 3. The good news is that there were 22 innocent lives rescued, liberated, and my guess is they're being adopted right now. I don't know the details. It's an ongoing story. It's unfolding. There have been at least 8 of this rescue team arrested. So it could be more by now. This story is ongoing, but I think there were at least 8 that are now behind bars for saving innocent baby lives. And so I really encourage you all to go to Direct Action Everywhere. Follow them on Instagram, follow on all the social platforms that you're on, and follow this story because this is really, really important. It's gaining a lot of momentum, and it points to a lot of root problems that we have that have a solution. I think a lot of us are dealing with overwhelm, and sometimes the things that we hear about in the news or in the media, as it now is, in the podcasting sphere, in the social media sphere, in all of these ways that we're receiving information, it's so easy to be overwhelmed and to think that we don't make a difference, that we, like, no matter what we do, the world is fucked, kind of a thing. And when we see stories like this is why I want to highlight what happened yesterday in Wisconsin, because it shows that there's this famous saying by, I believe, Margaret Mead, who was an anthropologist, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's this incredible quote that we must remind each other of over and over again, and that is, it is a small group of committed citizens that will change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And the story that happened yesterday with the puppy rescue, it's a perfect example of that quote, that it's only a small group of committed people in a team that are going to make a huge and lasting difference in the world. So the first people who opposed slavery were mocked, and then they were violently attacked for a long time. And then slowly, they kept making change and kept making change until eventually it was all changed, right? The laws are the things that come very last. So we definitely need to not look to laws first to decide what's right and wrong. Morality and ethics are totally separate category to laws usually, you know? When women were considered property, and in some places on earth they still are, the first people who stood up for women to have rights of their own, to own property or to choose who they marry or to choose anything at all in their lives, those people, those women were mocked and ridiculed. And then they were violently opposed. They were brutalized in prisons. It's horrific when you actually look into the story, and it's still going on right now in a lot of nations around the world. Women just get raped for punishment, for protesting. And however, in some nations, it then eventually became obvious that women have rights and can be treated legally as humans. The laws come last. I have been feeling so upset at all of the injustices and all of the innocent ones that are subjugated to such horrific treatment in so many ways. And for me, it's especially relevant about the animals. Now, why is that? The pushback that happens with this, when we bring this up, is that people are saying, well, but there's wars and there's human rights violations and there's hungry people and all of that. And yes, and I am concerned about those things. Of course, I care about those things. I want my human brothers and sisters to be safe, the kind, good-hearted ones. It looks like there's a whole bunch of humans walking around that are not even humans. I don't know if they just perfected the suit or something, but I'm talking to people with hearts. And you can tell a lot about a civilization by the way they treat the most defenseless ones within their society. And I definitely put animals in that category. They are defenseless. They are at our mercy. The solutions that I have are not popular. And the topics that I want to talk about that I think could bring great change are also not popular. And the things that I work on literally every day, that I volunteer my time on, get me just rejected socially. So we're in a war, like a spiritual war. This isn't about just politics and who's bombing who and that kind of stuff. That is an expression of the fact that we're in a spiritual war. And so we do need to talk about the shit that makes us deeply uncomfortable. The things that we've avoided for generations to even look at. These are the things that we actually need to address. One of my teachers was saying the other day, I was listening to one of her live streams, and it was like, the notion that we can just love and light our way out of everything is archaic. It's from a bygone era. It's from a time where, like maybe in Lemuria or in ancient prehistory, when the human being and the human physicality wasn't even dense yet. Like we were such instant manifestors, and we were so psychic, and we were so telepathic and so tuned in with our true nature that we could just like emanate the frequency that we want to emanate, and bam, it would come right back to us, and the world would be exactly as we intend it and all that. This is not the time, the era, the epoch that we find ourselves in right now. We actually are in a different timeline, you could say, for lack of a better term, and we have been asleep and we've been oppressed for so long, or as the Rastas say, down-pressed, because it's a down-pression instead of an oppression. And we've been put to sleep through propaganda, through erasing our history, through poisoning us literally, that we are very sleepy still. And even those of us who are red-pilled and think that we have discovered so much, we're barely in kindergarten. We are barely beginning the awakening journey. And so we really need to encourage each other, encourage our brothers and sisters to look at the things that we have avoided for so long to look at. And that is evil. So if you're not on a spiritual path, if you don't believe in a creator or in goodness, in compassion, and in miracles and angels and that kind of stuff, well, you don't have to believe in angels, although I would like it if you did. But if you're like an atheist and you just think that like we're machines and we have to get the chip and stuff, and you're into like the things that we put in the arms, and you just don't see creator or God, divine consciousness, then this is not the stream for you. I keep circling back around to yesterday, this incredible rescue that captivated my heart and soul. You can see it on my stories. There's little pieces of it that I've shared, but if you follow direct action everywhere, you will see more of the stories. There's this young man, why am I forgetting his name right now, who initiated it, but it was a team of like 24 people who rescued beagles from a torture facility, torture prison dungeon place. And it just lit me up with inspiration and glee and happiness and celebration that at least 24 out of the over 2,000 are free now and safe. And it's such a good metaphor for like where we are on earth right now, because there's 2,000 left in the facility, you know what I mean, being tortured all the time. They were bred just to be tortured, and sometimes it feels like that's the same with us. Can anyone relate to me? Like, sometimes it feels like we were just bred here or put here to be tortured. Like, what the fuck is this existence? There are little glitches in the matrix, and I hope you're paying attention, because things are crumbling and there's little cracks and stuff, and you can see divine consciousness pouring in if you keep your eyes open. And I'm saying this because I need to hear it. I don't know if any of y'all need to hear this, but a lot of what I'm saying is like, I need to say this out loud, at least for my own heart. You know, as an introvert, this takes a lot for me to just throw myself out online. It's not something I do often, although my business coaches say I should do it every day. The motivation is like, how can I help? You know, there's so much suffering in the world. Obviously, it's a spectrum. Some people and some beings are suffering far more than others. However, we can all feel it. Anyone with a heart, we can feel it. We can feel it. And then we're at a choice point. It's like, are we going to just fall into like comforting habits that are not even good for us? Doom scrolling, watching entertainment, eating things that are not good for us, doing activities that are not good for us. Like, that's what we've been doing already for generations, for thousands of years. And so perhaps, maybe, I don't know, hot take, maybe we could try something new that maybe our previous generations did not see all the way through, or they haven't tried yet, or they were in too much pain and they were coping too hard with their coping strategies to get farther, and now it's up to us. Only a small group of citizens is what will change the world. It's the only thing that ever has changed the world. So if you're looking to politicians to make better choices, well, can we all agree that that's not happening? They don't ever seem to make a good choice. It's very rare. If you're looking to, I don't know what other external authority, you know, the celebrities are no example. They participate in blood sacrifice rituals. Finally, the masses are opening up to this. We were called crazy for so long. And the solution, okay, there's a few different solutions that I would like to present to you. I've been feeling a little lonely. Anybody else feels lonely sometimes? Some of you are socialites and you're around people all the time, but I know that even some of the people who have people around them physically all the time, I know that even some of you feel lonely sometimes. So I'm just going to be brave and say the quiet part out loud. I know I'm not the only one. And anyways, so I really feel the pain of sentient beings, especially animals, because they didn't ask for any of this human world shit that they have to deal with. They're at our mercy. And it's to the tune of billions and billions and 90 billion on land are slaughtered for no reason at all on Earth. just for human greed, no reason other than that. And also because people have been willfully ignorant, willfully choosing to put the blinders on and not see what's actually happening. It's time for us to take our power. I don't even know if it's taking back is the right terminology, because how many generations, how many thousands of years has it been now where we haven't even had any power? Us, the people on the bottom of the pyramid. You know, when was the last time we had power? It was like epochs ago. But we do. That's the beautiful thing. So if you believe in a Lord, Creator, a divine consciousness, a benevolent one that sees everything and has a bigger plan, a divine plan for us, then there's always a solution hidden inside of the problem. I remember it was a mathematician said once that no matter how big the equation is, like when people do longhand mathematics, they have to go through this whole process to get to the final number. But that number always existed when the problem was just there in problem form. There was already a solution on the flip side of it. It just took them that time and that process to get to the number that was already there. I help people get out of pain. That's kind of one of my specialties, physical pain, emotional pain, through a physical embodiment practice. And I also do health coaching, and it's very holistic. So these types of topics about our personal spiritual life, our soulful evolution, our emotional health, our mental health, our social reality that we're in, all these things are part of our health, right? I would love to hear what you would like from someone like me who is long-term vegan for the animals, unapologetically so. It's probably the best decision of my life, other than having my son. Vegan for the animals, studied health my whole life. I feel very fortunate about that because I get to live in a very healthy body, and I wish that for all humans, all the good ones, the ones with hearts. I teach a primal movement practice that helps people get out of pain really quickly, especially if they've been in long-term chronic pain, back pain, recovering from injury or in some kind of an accident or something. I've had a lot of success with that too. So if any of these topics that we're hitting right now are of interest to you, or if you would like some support with your body or with your lifestyle, feel free to check out that link that's in the pinned comment and book a little call. It's only 15 minutes. We can just talk. We can get to know each other as fellow Earthlings navigating this insane realm. So just like how the long, complicated math problem has a solution existing already before we get there, I have been a seeker my whole life, and I don't understand most things. I'm not saying that I've found the answer to everything. All I'm saying is that I have found some things in some of the directions that I've been seeking, in some of the directions that I've been putting a lot of my energy and a lot of my time and a lot of my devotion and practice also, right? Like, I've had this body for what feels like a long time now. Sometimes it seems that way. Sometimes it feels like every day is just fresh and I'm just a child. I'm a child of God, a child of Jah, really. However, I have had a lot of time to put a lot of things into practice. And so I've been able to find through trial and error what works and what doesn't work over the long term. So, tried, tested, and true. The things are in, the results are in, and it's not just me, right? So, with regards to the things that, like what I was starting off with, the things that we refuse to look at, the things that we refuse to witness, this intentional closing or pulling the wool over our own eyes, this harms us more actually in the long run in our soul than if we are brave and choose to lift it and look and see what the actual truth is. So one of the things I would really encourage you all to do is to just look at the facts of where the products come from, what the industries do on the regular for the things that you buy every day. Meat, dairy, eggs, leather, and the things that we do for entertainment, zoos, aquariums, riding on other beings, such as horses, camels, donkeys, elephants. It's really important to hold witness, be courageous, take a look. At least then you can be informed, and then you can actually have integrity and who you really are, what you actually know to be true in your heart of hearts, and the daily actions, the walk that you're walking. Because from that place, you begin to claim your power. You become the disruptor of the matrix. And it all starts from knowledge first. So, statistically, I know that 98% of you, 98% of humans are eating animals, eating the fluids and things that come out of animals. You're wearing animals as leather and fur and feathers and things. Riding animals, using them for entertainment, gambling, whatever. That's a good 98% of the population. And most of those people are kind people. These are people that are against the story that broke yesterday about factory place that keeps these puppies to do testing on them and totally supports the rescuers that came in and took 22 of those puppies out. The same people who support the rescue of puppies that are tortured are demanding through consumer demand the torture of other animals that are just as sentient, that feel just as many emotions, that have just as varied personality differences as dogs do. You're demanding that exploitation every day, except it's just compartmentalized. And so those of us who are vegan, we're not judging you and what you eat. We're not telling you what to eat. What we're doing is we're inviting you into the opportunity to claim your power, to claim the alignment, soul, heart, body, mind, into a walking pillar of integrity to fuck up this matrix. The systems of oppression that want to keep you depressed and feeling helpless and lost and just falling back into addictive patterns and just losing all your power, like letting it go to authority and throwing your hands up and being a victim. Oppression relies on that to continue. If you start to go, you know what, I don't like the exploitation and forced breeding of baby animals. I didn't know that's what these industries do. I didn't know that babies were taken away from mothers in the dairy industry, that the mothers are pregnant for 9 months just like humans, and they give birth through the same mechanisms that humans do, and then the babies are taken away and the mothers are hooked up to machines to get their mother's milk taken forcibly from them. I've breastfed a child. I feel that. Y'all are good people, and you just haven't connected the dots to actually look and see the truth. If you could walk through a dairy farm, a classic dairy farm, any country, you would be absolutely horrified. I know that you've been told differently. You've been told that everything's good, they're treated well, you have to milk the cows, otherwise they're uncomfortable. We've been told so many things, and I used to be there too. I'm French, you guys. I used to eat all the cheese because it's part of my culture. If I can give up cheese, anybody can. Side note. Again, this is not about us or you or her or him. It's not about the humans. It's about stepping back and taking that bigger perspective and pulling on your big girl boots, your big boy boots, and being like, I'm a grown ass adult. I know that I can take the courage to take a look at the reality of what's going on. If I don't want to be responsible for more torture, more pain, more suffering, more war, more exploitation, more abuse, if I don't want to be responsible for that because I'm a good person, then I need to know from where are these products coming from and what is the full entire process that is required for these things to make it to the store shelves, or to, make the aquarium happen, or the circus happen, or the zoo, or any of that stuff. It's through love and through compassion and through my flickering, tiny belief that humans can change. Remember, it only takes a small, small group to create the biggest and best changes. That's the only thing that ever has. So we're not trying to change the entire world. If you stop eating tortured cows, the next person won't. But that still makes less, right? Like, I've heard it all, you guys. I've heard all the arguments against veganism. And by the way, veganism is not a diet. It's not a cult. It's not a political angle or orientation. It's not an identity. It's not a personality. It is the ethical principle that exploitation of other beings is wrong. It's basically a rejection of exploitation. That's all it is. From there ripples out then the actions of, well, maybe we stop eating the flesh of tortured, exploited beings. Maybe we stop eating the excretions that come out of animals that have been exploited. It's a learning curve. Most of us were not born knowing these things. In fact, most of us, we're in a collective awakening right now. So we're learning all kinds of stuff. And most of the human stuff, when you think about trafficking or wars or the horrible things that are happening with humans, the hunger. Dude, 87% of all plants grown in crops by humans are fed to the animals that are in captivity, suffering, and that will be killed at a fraction of their lives for the demands of the consumer, the humans who are buying those products. So when it comes to human hunger and human rights and human advocacy, veganism is still a part of it, because again, it's against exploitation. And if we could eliminate that 87% going to those imprisoned animals, we could easily feed the few million who are starving today, few million humans. For 98% of humans, daily life is consuming, participating in, demanding the exploitation of animals. And if you want to learn about how to decrease the biggest genocide of all time throughout all of recorded human history, bigger and only increasing over time, this genocide is the animal genocide, and it's the animal exploitation industries. I highly recommend you watch the documentary called Earthlings. We are all Earthlings. We, at the very least, deserve to know what is happening in our industries that we pay for. The other one to watch is Dominion, right? What does it mean to have dominion over the animals? Does it mean we get to just abuse them and rape them and kill them as babies? Is that what dominion really, really means? We just need to be asking more intelligent questions and be brave, be courageous to look at the answers when they come, because they do. For those who ask, the answers will come. For those who knock, the door shall be opened. For those who seek, they shall find. And so that's why I say with a lot of confidence that I have found solutions that do work. These horrific things that are happening to humans, such as trafficking and war and starvation, most of those things, for the majority of us, the population at the bottom of the pyramid, we typically can't do that much. We can donate maybe a little bit here and there to organizations. We don't even know if the money's going to where it's supposed to go. Or we can do things each and every day, or rather not do things, and save money by not doing those things every single day to make a difference, to decrease exploitation, to decrease abuse, to decrease suffering in the animal kingdom, which ripples out into having more resources and more power in us to also decrease the suffering in us. Because cool side benefit of not paying for the animal exploitation industries, a cool side benefit of eating plants is that inflammation goes down, digestion improves, skin starts to glow, body evens out whether it needs to gain weight or lose weight. There's a lot of cool things that can happen just from the plant-based food side of it. But again, veganism is an ethical principle that rejects exploitation. And so many of you are actually closet vegans on the inside, because I know that you're good people and you're kind and you're ethical and there's love in your heart. You have an actual beating heart. You're a real human with warmth, with care, with compassion, with empathy. And I know that you would like to walk in an integral way with congruence and really be a living example of the peace that you are aiming for every single day. I really do believe, after decades of looking into this, the roots stem from the oppression and exploitation towards animals. Why is this? Because think about when we were children. Your inner child loves animals, most of you with a heart. Everything for children, for young children, is about animals, because children love animals. The storybooks are about animals. The films are about animals. They even comfort themselves with stuffed animals. And we naturally want to befriend animals. For me, my first friends were animals. It's been challenging with the humans. I was a shy one, so I got bullied and stuff when I was younger. But animals were always kind to me. And then we learn from the adults that were taught before, and then their parents were taught before them. It's been multi-generational programming in this matrix to be cruel towards the spiders, the mice, the bats. First it's the pests, these little creatures that look gross to us, that we just kill them on sight. We don't even give them a chance, just on sight, boom, death, instantly. Or not so instantly. Those mice traps are brutal. Please catch and release if you have mice. And then it grows and grows, and without telling the children, you were one of those children who loved animals, and most of the children were not told that what's on their plate is animals, the animals that they love, that they watch movies about, that they have names for, that their favorite characters are animals. Their favorite little comfort toys, stuffies, are animals. And so the children are deceived, and the children are trained to enjoy the taste, the texture, the familiarity, the traditions of eating animals. And then by the time they find out, there's been a lot of other traumas and things that have been put into place, and the disconnect has already happened. You know, those things happen in hidden places, hidden facilities, hidden on purpose. Because even though 98% of you pay for this stuff, almost all of that 98% of you who pay for it every day would be horrified and probably want to puke and cry if you had to walk through a slaughterhouse and look at what's happening. By the billions each year. Billions of lives are cut short each year in slaughterhouses in every single country around the world. And so I just invite you to learn. Knowledge is power, and I really think that we're in such a tragic state right now where we're feeling so informed, overly informed with all the horrors of this hell realm, and yet we are also feeling so helpless because those problems seem far too big for us to even make a dent in. And so, let's address the problems that we really can solve. You can save an animal life by choosing to eat all plants tomorrow. You could go one day and just eat plants. There's so many incredible foods. You can book a 15-minute discovery call with me and I can help you. I'm your friend. I'm on your team. I can help you out. I'm not here to judge you. I was not vegan before. Every single day, by claiming our power back from, or by claiming it maybe for the first time, from these death cult blood sacrifice overlords, this is how we rise up. We address the roots at the grassroots level, the things that we actually can do. Maybe not all of us are as brave as those rescuers from yesterday who rescued the 22 beagles from that facility. And a lot of them are now in jail, awaiting sentencing. Maybe we're not going to do stuff like that, risk our own freedom. However, every single day in our purchasing choices, we can choose to decrease harm, abuse, suffering, exploitation. And trust me, with time, more and more and more, the confidence increases. I have nothing but love for all the beautiful beings of this planet. Earthlings unite. Watch Earthlings, watch Dominion, watch Christspiracy. Watch What Would Jesus Do? What Would Jesus Do? Film.com. I'll put some links in the comments for things you can watch. I gotta run. Pura vida. So much love to you.